I cannot believe what I've just heard on the BBC. Two guests, back to back, speculate why this 50-year-old Saudi Arabian committed this attack on the Magdeburg Christmas market. Neither mention Islam. Instead, they suggest he might have lost his job or been divorced. We cannot ignore the obvious elephant in the room. The second guest then wondered in a later segment why this market had no concrete bollards to prevent the car from driving through the crowd. We would not need such blockades if politicians had not imported these people into Europe. In today's video, we will listen and react to what they said, but first hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. Just a quick one to say we do have t-shirts available on our website. We have stuck Farmer and Make Britain Great Again ones. Make sure you check the link in the description or go to britishstand.com. So have a watch.
So that's the moment of arrest there, according to MDR News. And just want to bring back in Christian Kaunert, EU counter-terror expert and international security and policing professor at the University of South Wales. If we could just pick up, Christian, from the moment there we saw those police officers, guns drawn, individual on the ground, being arrested, taken away. What happens now from the police, from the security services? What are the questions that are going to be asked? What are the investigations that are going to be ongoing now?
Yeah, so the profile of the terror suspect is quite unusual, actually. When you look at the profile, he's a 50-year-old doctor, a Saudi citizen. 50-year-old is usually, when you look at terror plots in Europe, right across Europe or even outside of Europe, 50 years old is quite an old terror suspect. Usually you'd have terror suspects that are much younger than that. You'd have suspects that are maybe in their 20s, maybe in their early 30s. The age that he has is very unusual. So I'd be asking very clearly what the motivation here is. Is he acting even on his own accord? Because a 50-year-old person who is perpetrating that is very unusual. I'd be wanting to know his family circumstances. Is he married? Does he have children? All of that would make this attack ever more unusual at that particular profile. And certainly in terms of who might have helped.
Let's bring in Frank Gardner now, who has just been standing by for us. So Frank, just talk us through your analysis of what we know about what's happened so far.
Well, okay, this is unfortunately not the first time that somebody has used Christmas and Christmas markets in Europe, and particularly in Germany, to ram a car into a load of people. So the immediate suspicions will be that this is some kind of terrorist plot inspired by from outside. Very minimal details so far that at roughly 7 o'clock local time, a dark BMW went through the crash barriers in the town of Magdeburg. For those who are just joining us, town in central Germany, roughly halfway between Hanover and Berlin. And crowded Christmas market, people out 5 days before Christmas doing their shopping. And this is something that Germany does particularly well. It's a major tourist attraction and therefore a major potential target for any terrorists. And I think the worrying thing here is that, okay, we still don't know exactly the motive. And as your previous commentator was saying there, 50 is a very unusually high age for somebody to be carrying out something like this. There are often more than one reason why somebody would want to do this. It's not always purely terrorism. It's not purely ideology. It can be mental. There could be all sorts of reasons. Stress that they're undergoing. They might have been fired. They might have, their wife or partner has left them. They might be extremely upset about something. But there have been a number of, similar attacks like this.
What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. In other news, new analysis has shown that suggested Labour plans to fix Britain's broken asylum system risk exacerbating housing shortages. The analysis by The Telegraph shows the proposals risk creating an internal civil war with local councils. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner's pie-in-the-sky house-building targets are adding further pressure to local authorities, requiring them to build 2.5 properties every minute. The ambitious construction goals come at a time when councils are already facing significant challenges in managing their housing responsibilities. Analysis shows Newham and Brent councils in London are facing the most severe pressures, with both boroughs having more than 20% of households on social housing waiting lists. These areas also host more than 30 asylum seekers per 10,000 residents. Bolton and Islington are experiencing similar challenges, with between 15 and 20% of their households on waiting lists, alongside comparable proportions of asylum seekers. Luton completes the list of the 5 most affected local authorities, with between 10 and 15% of its households waiting for social housing. The data reveals a clear pattern of mounting pressure on local authorities already struggling with significant housing demands. Government rules mean councils have certain quotas to adhere to. For example, the number of asylum seekers in each local authority area cannot exceed 0.5% of the population. Labour councillor John Wolfe, who has responsibility for homes and neighbourhoods at Islington Council, told The Telegraph, "We are increasingly concerned about the challenges many refugees face in finding stable housing after being granted status. Since last year, we have seen a sharp rise in the number of refugees presenting as homeless. This is partly due to the faster processing of asylum applications, which is positive in principle, but also because some individuals are being given as little as 7 days to leave their accommodation." A spokesman for Luton Council said, "Luton is at the forefront of the UK housing crisis and currently faces an unprecedented demand for housing. Additional pressures are caused by the Home Office policy of accommodating disproportionately higher numbers of asylum seekers in Luton compared with other local authorities in the region. While this does affect our housing offer in the town, it mostly impacts the quantity of temporary accommodation options that we have until their asylum is processed." Labour Council leader for Brent Mohammed Butt insisted asylum seekers were not the main cause of pressure on housing stock. He added, "The pressures on social housing in Brent come mostly from historic sell-offs under right to buy and evictions from private landlords, not asylum seekers placed in hotels by the Home Office. Ultimately, it is the government that decides where asylum seekers are housed and for the provision of their accommodation across the UK." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.